I think it's very important for people to take in as many perspectives in this space as you can. As you guys know, I'm a macro bull. I believe we're going up long term. We're going to hit mass adoption and ride off into the sunset, right? That's the exciting path forward. But there will be ebbs and flows in the market. Understand things will not always be super bullish, right? We even talked about some potential retracement earlier today, but I stumbled across this video that I thought was very interesting from Dan Gambardello, and I expanded upon this further, and I found some very surprising things that I think you guys need to see. So if you guys are new or haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit that bell again. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So the day is started off just kind of boring. Go figure. It's still low volume across the crypto market. And, you know, ADA, what I really want to look at is more of a zoomed out perspective, this weekly chart. And you guys can see this week is slightly red now. We're down 1.69%. I'd love to finish this on a green note, but understand that red weeks aren't necessarily the worst thing, especially if you're setting higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. That's kind of what ADA is doing right now. And it's trying to basically prep for this next leg across the space. And when I watched this video from Dan Gambardello that he did 3 days ago, and I'd encourage you guys to watch this, he was talking about recession fears peak. Crypto took off last time. And what he did was he went back and he looked at all these different news articles from back at the end of 2022 talking about very high likelihood of a recession coming in 2023 and people need to prepare. And what he was actually pointing to was a lot of similarities to now, where it was actually essentially the bottom in the crypto market, where we saw BTC start to run, where we saw things just begin to surge throughout the crypto space. And it was obviously a very exciting time. And what he did was he went back and looked at several of these other moments where it was essentially a crypto market bottom. He was actually looking at peak fear sentiment across the stock market, I believe it was. And he actually laid this out on the charts. And what's interesting is this flashed just, a month ago or so, which he didn't put up here yet, back here in 2024, back here in 2020, and back here in 2019, 2018 heading into 2019. And what's interesting about this is every time we had these major spikes on this chart, it was actually a bottom in the crypto market. And that's what we've been seeing is a very big inflection point in crypto. What I thought was very interesting here as well is I wanted to look at something that shows this is taking place. And I know I've been mentioning it a lot as of late, but I think it's very important to note that there is a high correlation between this. And this is the weekly stochastic RSI. And what is very interesting and consistent with this is when we have had these market bottoms, we really truly entered this oversold range in terms of the stochastic RSI. And what I found was very consistent here is if we look back at 2024 right here, August of 2024, you guys can see this hitting the oversold range, bottoming, and then we started to exit that oversold range, right? Seeing a very similar thing right now, which I'll get to in just a moment. But even going back to 2022, I'm losing my spot here. Late 2022, we started to exit again here in 2020. If we look back at March into April of 2020, same thing. And yes, there are other times during this as well, but you guys are getting the point, right? Late 2018 into 2019. Now, why I'm referencing this is it was very important to note that every time this was taking place, we got a major acceleration to the upside. All right, we're right now sitting just above the 50 level on the stochastic RSI, and we tend to have a trend. Doesn't always happen, but we tend to have a trend is when we do breach 50 on this, that we are headed towards the top, a major breakout across the crypto market. Now, this isn't a guarantee or financial advice or anything like that, but there is a very high level of correlation when it comes to this. And what I think is even more important is when we look at the overall market cap of crypto, we see this very similar trend. But what I really wanted to point to in terms of ADA is that when we look at the total three, which is all assets outside of BTC, it is always the lagging chart compared to the total market cap chart or towards the BTC chart. All right. So typically this BTC move precedes these altcoin moves by about a week or two. And what we're seeing now is we're starting to enter some of these similar aggressive breakouts like we did back in 2024, like we did back in 2022, back in 2020, back in 2019. We're following on a very high correlation this path forward. And again, what Dan Gambardello talks about in this video is, the potential for some retracement, dropping down to potentially 2.5 trillion in terms of the overall market cap of crypto. And that is a possibility. Now, what I will say here is what is also taking place that took place many of those times where we did just have this accelerated blowout in terms of the overall crypto market, attacking new highs, stuff like that, was major stablecoin printing. In fact, anytime we look at this moment where the market was bottoming, printing was kind of flat, supply was kind of flat, and then we had a big acceleration. What we've seen over the last several weeks here in terms of USDT and USDC is major minting taking place. Again, if we look back at August of 2024, was pretty flat for the most part. And then we saw an acceleration of minting. Take a look back here at the end of 2022, same thing, acceleration of minting. Back here in 2020, which is, Tether wasn't as big back then, but same thing. Saw acceleration of minting. This is not a surprising thing, because what we're seeing right now is a lot of new capital entering the crypto market. And the thing that I want to keep referencing back to now is because we have a more transparent view of this. And I'm using the word transparent loosely because we know there's over-the-counter balances. But when we're looking at this time and you're seeing some of the largest weeks ever in terms of accumulation, in terms of institutional money, I think it's printing a very obvious sign where the market wants to head to. Do you think these guys are buying right now to prepare for another 10-15% drop in terms of BTC? I kind of find that hard to believe, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we do get some sort of pullback. Maybe we get some more news that causes us to go on a little bit of a retracement. But a lot of these other signs around the crypto space are showing us on a zoomed out perspective that we're about to start attacking some pretty high levels. And that is going to be very good for altcoins, because understand that as BTC starts leading the way on these moves, altcoins start following. It's why when we look at these last several weeks and maybe month or so, month and a half, isn't that been that long already? Geez, I need to look back, guys. Yeah, I guess since then, it's been a very distinct trend. On almost any asset you can track this, it's up and to the right. We're rebounding. We're starting to work our way back up towards some more comfortable levels where retail is getting just slightly more confident and getting more likely to enter their sideline capital into the crypto market. All right. Now, again, this is going to take time. I'm not saying that again today, tomorrow, the next day that we're just going to moon or anything like that. But I would watch these trends very closely. There will be chops. There will be ups and downs. But overall, when you zoom out, it's very clear that the market is headed one way. So appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.